Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win! That game.
Where nothing is held back.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
Where nothing is censored.
He did what?
Where nothing is off limits.
She is gone!
Where anything goes. This is Snowman Unfiltered.
Holy Toledo, what a way to finish!
And here's your host, Brian Snow.
Well, here we are back again for another episode of Snowman Unfiltered. And normally there's a sports tone to this podcast, and there's going to be a little bit of sports worked in, but I decided to go off the board. And my guest this week is a published author of a couple of children's books, and very adamant against something that I'm very adamant against, which is bullying. Do me a favor, folks, and please help me welcome Wendy Gilhula, and she joins me right now. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be on your show.
When I saw, we both belong, let me set this up, we both belong to the same Facebook group that Anna Sabino started about getting, being a guest on other podcasts. And when I saw you promoting your books and your website, I said, you know what, let me try something. And I reached out to you, and I'm glad you responded about having you on the podcast. And here you are. Wonderful. I'm going to enjoy this. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks. The name of your show is Snowman Unfiltered. So I know you're open to lots of different topics and guests, which I appreciate.
Indeed, I am. When you told me your Twitter name, and we got to start here, was Pika Bunny Says, I knew that's where I had to start. You gotta tell the folks the origin of that name.
Well, my main character is Pika Bunny, so I kind of speak for him sometimes. But the pika is really an American pika, or you can say pika, and scientists are trying to get the pika on the endangered species list. Uh-huh. So I kind of like to bring that to the front and talk about that with kids in schools and on Skype.
So how did you get into being an author, and what made you choose the children books genre to go into?
Well, my second book that came out is called Pika Bunny Has a Big Question. And I actually wrote that 30 years ago. And I sent it to a publisher, and it got rejected. And they said that kindness was not relevant, because the question that Pika Bunny asked Mama is, what is love and what is kindness? I was so embarrassed by that, I hid my manuscript in a drawer for 30 years.
Wow.
Because, yeah, and I hid it in my dresser drawer. So, you know those times where you're cleaning out your dresser, or maybe you got a new dresser, you got some new furniture. Every time I did that, I saw that manuscript in the bottom of the bottom drawer, and I put it in a trash can. And I would stare at it in the trash can, and I think, well, my story's really not trash. So I would pull it out and then put it back into that bottom drawer. So that's where my journey began with writing. It was actually all my writings in a drawer.
And a lot of your writing actually was spurned from 2 decades teaching children's dance and tutoring math. How did you go from that into writing?
Well, actually, so I'm 54. So actually, some of my manuscripts date back to when I was in my early 20s, and that's when I just had finished college at the University of Tennessee, and I majored in dance. So I joined a local dance studio, and my passion has always been children in general. My mission is to guide children in a difficult world. So dance was my way to tell stories. When I choreographed on with the children, dance was my way of telling stories with the body and music and, you know, the movement. So math doesn't really coordinate to that, but then the children's stories actually do, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does. And these are the first in a learning series, and I know you and I have had a chance to talk off the air, and the subject of bullying is very important to you, and I know you want to spread the word about that, about how bad it is, as do I. Was there an incident that kind of launched you into that direction, saying, hey, I got to get the word out about this, or were there any combination of events that led you to that?
Well, that's a good question. Pika Bunny Says Eep is my third Pika Bunny book. And I think most of us have been bullied or heavily teased in our lives. We're very lucky if you've escaped that, anyone. But my neighbor said to me, Wendy, Pika Bunny needs to talk about standing up against bullies. And I thought, oh, goodness, you have to have courage. You actually have to have courage to stand up and talk about bullying. And I thought, and I read all the kids' books I could get my hands on. I read Kirsten's in them. I read all of them. And the story that I wanted to tell and to share with kids all over the world is what is bullying? How do you find courage, and how do you apply both of those in the moment? Because when you're in the moment, whether you are experiencing it, especially if you're a kid at school, or you're witnessing it, there's usually somebody around, and you're looking around thinking, am I the only one? Am I the only one that sees this? Whether you're the witness or the person being bullied. And what better way because kids don't know what to say. They don't know what to say in the moment. Adults sometimes don't know what to say in the moment, but sometimes if you can just say no, or eep is what the Pika says in nature, if you could just say no and somebody else recognize and they just say no, then the bully can't win. The bully can't win. You don't have to have go ahead.
Have you ever been through an incident of bullying that kind of phrase I'm looking for is open the spigot about this? Has it happened to you or someone close to you?
I remember a lot of teasing. I don't know if it crossed it into bullying, but I remember being afraid to be different. In middle school and high school, I was always very tall. I was almost 6 feet tall in high school, and I only weighed 120 pounds. So I got teased plenty by groups of people, singular people. Somebody's even yelled out in the cafeteria at me, in front of everybody, and I was shy anyway, so it was scarring to me. We didn't have cyberbullying back then, but have you had an experience?
Yeah.
Happened with you?
I've dealt with bullying in person all through high school, and I also had many incidents of cyberbullying. And it's something you said earlier about having the courage to stand up and say no, having the courage just to say something. Because when you're bullied, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, even to present 21st century day, when you're bullied, more often than not, if you do say something, the finger is still going to be pointed at you. The finger is still going to be pointed at you, and you're going to be still found at fault for some reason for an incident that you didn't cause.
Correct. That's correct.
But in present day, why do you think that is?
I wish I had that answer. I think a lot of people, I think they just don't want to come onto them as well if they're watching. And I think fear. Don't you think fear is a big contributor?
I know it's a big contributor. Going through the cyberbullying incidents that I have gone through, and I'll make this point, whether it's physical bullying or cyberbullying or in some cases verbal bullying, if someone sees it, they're afraid to say something because they're afraid of it coming back on them and them getting pushed back for it or a residual effect from it.
Correct. So that's why if you just say no, what else are you saying? You're just saying no. And let me tell you, okay, so when I was developing this book, I was at an elementary school, and I was reading Pika Bunny Has a Big Question, but I was telling them about Pika Bunny Says Eep and how it works. And I heard some children talking on the other end of the group, so I walked over, and I heard, and they were saying Eep. They were saying Eep. And I was like, what's going on? And I looked, and there was a little girl sitting in the center, and her eyes were huge, looking up at me like, what's going on? And there was a circle of people around her that just said Eep one time each. And I said, oh my goodness, is it working? And all the little children that said Eep just smiled and nodded their heads. And I was like, and then I heard Eep from the other side of the room. So I walked over there, and there was a circle of kids saying Eep around another child. And it wasn't like they were trying to bully the bully or get the bully in trouble. They were just saying, you know what, I see what you're doing, and it's wrong. But all they had to do is say Eep. And I've already seen it working. And this book just came out.
That is wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. And it's our way today of saying bullying is not acceptable. And it's a way of standing up. And I know fear is the chief reason, but can you think of some other reasons why people don't want to stand up to bullying aside of the pushback and aside of the fear?
I'm thinking those reasons are big enough for most people to choose not to do it, unless you can think of something else. I mean, in the moment when I'm there, sometimes I'm like, I have to, is this really happening? And it takes me a minute to process, where's this coming from? And did the other person provoke that? Or is this payback for something? And then time goes by, and then your opportunity to say Eep or to say no has passed.
That is so true. All of those are wonderful questions, and you said it best. Within the moment, all those questions come to mind, and you don't know how to respond to any of them. And I've told about this incident on the morning show many times. I'm going to speak about it here. I had someone actually lie and spread a rumor about me about an incident that supposedly happened at one of the schools where I was announcing their basketball games. And because of that, the entire community, instead of doing their due diligence, just turned their back on me. And I had to face that alone for a year and a half. And some of the residual effects, the person that actually spread the rumor and told the lie and cost me my contract actually had the nerve to call me and leave a message saying, how did that blank incident go?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's like the person who does the bullying believes their lie so fiercely that they continue to spread it. They continue to soil your name. They continue to, in essence, cost you your life and your surroundings. All because of bullying and all because of a lie. I'm not the only one that's gone through both, but I've seen it happen on both sides of the coin.
I have two. And then I don't know what the rumor was, but just if a rumor spread about somebody, hypothetical, I wish people would find out the truth before they even take that gossip. I do talk about gossip as well with this book, because I do talk about, if you hear somebody saying eep, but you did not witness the bullying, you cannot say eep.
Exactly.
Because that's gossip. So I'm also telling them about gossip.
Those are great lessons, telling about gossip and telling about bullying. And folks, this is Wendy Gilhula. If you want to check her out, I encourage you to do so at wendygilhula.com. These books are wonderful. She's wonderful, and she's been a great guest on Snowman Unfiltered. And I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story and sharing your books. And folks, once again, Wendy Gilhula, that's GILHULA.com, is where you can find her wonderful books and where she may be appearing. So thank you so much again. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. Good luck with your podcast and everything that's due you.
Well, that is very appreciated. Thank you very much. Well, that'll do it for this week's episode of Snowman Unfiltered. Had to go off the board when this wonderful guest, Wendy Gilhula, showed up on the Facebook group that we are a part of. If you want to be a part of this podcast, drop an email to snowmanunfiltered@gmail.com. That is snowmanunfiltered@gmail.com. Don't forget to like us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and Snapchat, using the ID SNWMN Unfiltered. We get back to sports talk next week when I welcome the big dog, the true big dog, Shane Lake, my super producer from Snowman in the Morning. And we got a lot on our plate, so we'll get back to it next week. Until then, have a great week. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, then they are not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. Till next time, Snowman out.